Welcome to Rock Gamer and welcome to my Customs of the Week. I want to let you guys know I'm going to be on vacation next week, so there will not be a Customs of the Week for next week, but there should be one for the week after. So let's get started with the C3 release for this week. This week I'm only going to be covering about 2 of the C3 releases. We had basically 6 singles pack that were completely unrelated, and the song you see behind me is probably my favorite song, and I've covered it before, but this week it officially got the C3 treatment. This one is Bandidos by the Refreshments. It's a great 90s tune. Nunchuck and Genesis had released it about a month or so ago, but now it's finally got harmonies as well as a new drum chart as well as some fixes as well on the other instruments. And this song is so much fun on drums. This is probably the best song of the week on drums. There's just so much variety here, and those fills where you're playing like the open hi-hat and snare open hi-hat, so much fun. And even the little rolls you do on the toms are just a ton of fun. This song you can probably full combo pretty easily if you practice enough, but this song is just amazing on drums. I can't say enough how much fun I had on this song. Talking about the other instruments, guitar is reasonably fun. The guitar solo is absolutely killer. There's 2 guitar solos in the song, and they're quite challenging. The bass is probably the weakest instrument of the 3. The vocals are an absolute blast to sing, and there are some harmonies as well. There aren't too many harmonies, but the harmonies are really fun. So let's move on to our second song of the week. Second song of the week is from Jessie J. It's her hit song, Domino. This is a song I've wanted in Rock Band for a long time. It's finally nice to see it appear from a C3 release. Now this song on drums is actually quite challenging. The hardest part is when you're playing like those 3 notes on the hi-hat, and then there's like the blue notes, and I always had trouble between playing the ride or whether I should play open hi-hat. But it's a pretty standard beat for most of the song. Other than that one section, there's really not a whole lot of variety in the rest of the song. The guitar is, pretty noticeable in the song, and the guitar is really easy. You're going to be playing a lot of the same notes over and over again. The bass is probably one of the weaker instruments along with the keyboards, but this song is really fun on vocals. This is definitely a vocalist song, and the harmonies are really fun too. Singing the song, I didn't really realize how many background vocals were actually in the song. Let's move on to our next song of the week. It's from a band we've seen 2 full albums from before, from Harmonix, and strangely enough, we haven't really seen a ton of customs from them. We had 1 song that was officially released by C3, and this one is not a C3 release. It's from the other customs forum. This song is Animal by Pearl Jam. It's from their 1993 album, Versus. And this is really a good song for drummers. There's really some technical stuff it's really going to challenge like your open hi-hat skills. One of the hardest parts of this song is to, you're playing your hi-hat, snare beat, and then there's like a set of ghost notes followed by open hi-hat and your kick drum. That was like one of the hardest parts of the song to master, and it took me quite a few tries to actually get it down pat. The guitar is quite hard in this song. There's a lot of strumming on the single notes. There's not a ton of chords. It's the same with the bass too. It almost feels like the bass is almost replicated, or at least a rough version of maybe what the rhythm guitar is playing, or what even some of the leads is playing as well. The vocals, unfortunately, are just talkies, and there are no harmonies in this song. But I know there's lots of fans of Pearl Jam on the forums, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy to see this song finally make its way to Rock Band. Let's move on to our next song of the week. This couple songs are going to be completely 90s nostalgia. So this next song is The Way by Fastball. This was a huge hit when I was a kid back in like 1996, 1997. And this song I really just picked because of nostalgia's sake. It's not particularly amazing on any instruments. The keys are pretty repetitive. You'll be playing a lot of chords on pro keys. The bass is okay. The guitar is probably one of the weaker instruments. There'll be sections of the song where you will not be playing guitar. The drums are decent. They're not too bad. There's nothing too complicated. You're playing a lot of the same beats over and over again. The vocal harmonies I really enjoyed on this song, and that's probably one of the highlights of this song. Let's move on to our next song of the week. This song is a song that was sorely missing from a lot of the Billy Joel DLC we saw from Harmonix. This is Uptown Girl by Billy Joel, and what an amazing song this really is for vocalists and people who enjoy harmonies. This is probably one of the most enjoyable songs on harmonies I think I've ever played in the history of Rock Band. Great song. The guitar and bass are really probably the worst instruments on the song. The drums, surprisingly enough, are actually quite a bit of fun. You play a pretty standard hi-hat snare beat, but then what makes it fun is that, much like Bob Seger's song from last week I profiled, the fills are pretty fun, and they do vary things up and add a bit of spice. And the keys are, it's Billy Joel. They're pretty challenging. It's pretty chord heavy, but this is definitely going to be a hit song at a lot of the Rock Band parties you have. Let's go on to our next song. Next song is from a band which is from the 90s, more 90s nostalgia. This one is One Headlight by the Wallflowers, and this one is a really terrific song on vocals. It's definitely going to challenge your higher register. I had trouble singing it. The harmonies were a lot easier to sing, and this song does have full harmonies as well as pro key support. The guitar and bass, you know, again, are not the best instruments for this song. The drums are decent. You know, you're still playing your standard hi-hat snare beat. There is like there's quite a few sections where you'll be playing rolls on the hi-hat, which sort of change things up and make this song a lot more tolerable. But, you know, it's just, I've always enjoyed this song, and it's nice to finally see it in Rock Band. And I chose this one purely for nostalgia's sake as well. Let's go into our next custom of the week. Next song is another 90s tune. This one is Kiss Me by Sixpence and I'm the Richer. I think they had a couple hits back in the 90s, and I remember this song from that Freddie Prinze Jr. movie, She's All That. I remember my sister made me watch that movie. It actually wasn't a bad movie. It's probably one of my guilty pleasures. So let's talk about this song. This is a full band song, features keys, features harmonies. It's a great song on vocals, fun song on harmonies. The drums are sort of like the last song, The Wall by the Wallflowers, but this one's got a lot more variety to it. You know, you'll be playing a lot of rolls on the hi-hat, but then there'll be times where you're playing 3 rolls, and you'll be playing 4 rolls, and so forth. The guitar is insanely difficult. I've never played chords like this, as you can see in the back. I mean, my fingers were so stretched out that I was having a lot of trouble playing chords on this song. If you want a challenge on guitar, you're probably going to find it here. The bass is probably the worst instrument out of all the instruments for this song, but you know, this was going to be another really popular song at Rock Band parties you're going to have. So nostalgic. Let's go into our next song of the week. The week with another nostalgic note is a song by Avril Lavigne, Skater Boy. This is from her first album. Really great album if you guys haven't heard it. I'm a huge Avril Lavigne fan, and probably because I'm Canadian, I'm a little bit biased, but this song is really fun on drums. The vocals are not too bad. Guitar is quite enjoyable, and bass is probably the weakest out of all the instruments. And that basically does it for Customs of the Week for this week. If you guys want to stay up to date in all things Rock Band 4 and Guitar Hero Live related, click the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. And if you guys want to follow me on social media, you can see the links to my social media accounts in the description below. And check out my blog at rock-gamer.com. Thanks, guys, and have yourself a good weekend.